Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my humble home in Livingston, Montana. Okay, what's today? Just for craps and giggles, it's April 9th of 2019, and the outside weather is very foggy, a lot of doom and gloom, total cloud cover, looks like it's going to snow. This is a perfect day for me to sit down here and tell a story. Why? Because I don't have anything better to do for YouTube than tell a story. Anyway, this is what I consider one of my funnier fly fishing stories. Now, if you're not into this kind of stuff, just click this video off and go away. Okay, this happened in either 1992 or 93 along in there, and I was working and living and raising a family in Butte, Montana. I had a state job. I worked for the Montana State Bureau of Mines and Geology, okay? And I was heavily involved with fly fishing. I still am to this day, but not to the degree that I was back in them days. Back in them days, I'd drop everything in a hat and go fly fishing. Whatever, here. But I kept hearing about this place called Rock Creek, how good the fishing was in Rock Creek. And I'm thinking, Rock Creek, Montana. And I'm thinking, hey, I'm living in the state of Montana. I need to find me a Rock Creek. So I got me a few maps together and everything and figured out where this Rock Creek is at. Now, I don't know why they call this place Rock Creek, because really, in all reality, it was a small river as far as I was concerned. And the way it was exactly 72 miles to Rock Creek, the way I would drive there. There's several ways you can drive there. But back in them days, because I was raising a family and because I was on a budget, I had to make every tank of gas count, ladies and gentlemen. I had to make every extra bullet that I bought for hunting count and all that kind of stuff. Why? Because it's expensive raising kids, and I was on a budget, and I'd have my wife screaming at me I spend too much money. All this other kind of stuff. So anyway, to give you an idea where Rock Creek is, I'm just going to say this real quick, like, to get this off my chest. If you drive over to Anaconda, which is due west of Butte, Montana, approximately 25 miles, then if you go to the north and back off to the west about another 40 miles, you'll run into a town called Phillipsburg. Everybody called it, back in them days, they just called it Peaburg. Okay, due west of Peaburg, another 15 miles, you'll run smack dab into Rock Creek. And Rock Creek is nothing more than a big drainage, if you will, out of the Anaconda-Pintler Mountains. The headwaters come out of the Anaconda-Pintler Mountains, flowed for approximately 50, 60 miles on a northerly direction all the way, and dumped out into the Clarksburg River, approximately 15 or 20 miles east of Missoula. I mean, this is a long-winded fishery, okay? But I had been up there several times. I'd fished at. I knew that there was big cutthroats in there and big rainbows, and I even developed a couple patterns of my own just for Rock Creek, which I still fish with to this day, which is neither here nor there. But anyway, this one in particular weekend, because I had a state job, I didn't work on Saturdays or Sundays. Now, I know this probably happened on a Saturday, but I get all fired up, boy, I'm going fly fishing, man. And back in those days, I never used to let anything or nothing stop me, you know. I don't even remember what pickup I had or what car I had or what ratty vehicle. You can bet it was some kind of a ratty rattle trap, because I could never afford to buy real new rigs when I was trying to raise my family. Trust me on this. Now, in other words, I was always working on vehicles. But this one particular Saturday, I go tearing up there to Peaburg or Rock Creek. I get over to Rock Creek, you know. I take off real early in the morning because I want to be right on that stream at first light, 8 o'clock. So I get out, you know, I get up there Rock Creek, you know, I park in an area that's right by the main access road, if you will. There's kind of a big camping-like parking area, and I park there, and I start working my way up the fishery, up Rock Creek. I always fish upstream, because as some of you may or may not know, you'll scare less fish if you sneak in from behind them, not going downstream. Okay, but anyway, I start fly fishing, and by noonish or 1 o'clock or whatever have you, I'd caught my limit. Now, I can't quite remember, ladies and gentlemen, if the limit was 5 or 6 fish back in them days. I want to say it was 5 fish. And I had a combination between, I had X amount of cutthroat and X amount of, rainbows or whatever have you. Anyway, I had them in my creel, because back in them days, I always carried a wicker willow creel. I've showed it here on my YouTube channel before. I don't carry it anymore because it's gotten really old and brittle and all that other stuff. But I had my limit. But I get greedy because I still got more time to fish before I had to drive home before dark or whatever have you. So I keep fly fishing and I catch me 4 more trout over my limit. I got 4 trout over my limit. And I got them all in my cooler. Cooler. Jeez, listen to me. I've had probably too much coffee. In my creel. I got them in my creel. All of them. Let's just say 9 of them. And I turned around in the creek there and I said, okay, it's time for me to go back to the pickup and get the hell out of here. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you're parked in a perfect place where the fish cop, meaning the Montana State Game Warden, can come and check you out. And I knew doggone well, because I'd seen game wardens up in that country before, and I knew that there was a game warden out of Peaburg that checked that area, Phillipsburg, and I knew there was a game warden that came out of Missoula that used to check that fishery in there. So I'm sloshing along, and thinking, what am I going to do here, because I didn't want to take and waste no 4 trout. In other words, throw them away or whatever have you. So I got to looking around and I'm thinking, what can I do here, So I took 2 of those trout, now key in on this, I took 2 of those trout and put them down my left leg. I had a pair of waders on, not neoprenes, hip waders. Okay, but back in those days, the reason why I probably didn't have any neoprenes because I couldn't afford them. Them things were expensive. But I slid 2 of those trout down in between my body and the rubber on those hip waders and 2 more over on this right side. So I had 2 fish on each leg sloshing along as I'm walking back to camp or back to my pickup. Because all I wanted to do is get back there, fold up my gear, because it takes a little while by the time you peel all your stinky clothes off and you fold up your fly rod and all this other stuff. And I knew if there was any time that I was going to get busted, it'd be right then, back at the vehicle. Because them game wardens usually don't chase a guy like me way up the creek somewhere. They wait, because they know you're going to come back to your vehicle, Okay, I come sloshing down the creek back to where I was parked, and just barely, I just had enough time to lean my fly rod up against a tree, and here comes Johnny. Here comes the fish cop, Montana State Game Warden. He comes wheeling up in there, and I'm standing there, I think I'm dribbling little fish eggs in my shorts. I'm sure that the color of my shorts changed a little bit. Anyway, I still got my creel on. I really don't even start to get undressed yet and everything. Because he comes up to me and goes, well, beautiful day, isn't it? They always want him to say stuff like that. I feel like saying, yeah, it'd be a lot more beautiful of a day if I didn't have to report to you. But I go, yeah, officer, pretty nice day out here. And he goes, hey, look, I see you got a creel there. Mind if I check it? Oh, yeah, you can just sleep with me, officer. I always love that. Mind if all I want to do is tell these kind of buzzards, get the hell out of my face. But anyway, I said, no, look at, of course, I'm internally, I'm sweating bullets, because I don't want this guy to get nowhere near my waders or any of that kind of stuff, because I've got these 4 illegal fish, 2 on each leg, slid down my waders. But I reeled my creel around like this, and I said, I took the lid up real quick. I said, right here, officer, and of course, I'm trying to keep his attention anything but on them waders. So he's digging around in there, checking fish, because as a lot of people should know, most biologists, well, down in the state of Montana, they're biologists. They're not only checking you to make sure you're, following the fish and game regulations, but they also check out game, especially big game animals and stuff, to see if there's any disease. In other words, game wardens up here in Montana, they're half cops and half biologists, is basically what I'm saying. So anyway, he's going through there looking at these fish all over and everything, and he goes, well, he says, I see you done okay for yourself and all this other stuff, and he's kind of, taking his time, and I'm getting a little nervous. And pretty soon he spotted my fly rod leaning up against the tree, which is only like about 10 feet away. And he looked at that, and it was at that time, I still got this rod. It's a Walton Powell hexagraph. It looks just like a bamboo fly rod, but it's made out of, the outside sheath is made out of graphite, and the inside filler is fiberglass. They don't make them anymore. They're collector's items, and I got one. But anyway, he's looking at that, and he goes, my God, he says, I didn't think anybody still fished with them old cane rods or whatever, them old bamboo things or whatever have you. And so I just picked it up, anything to keep his attention off of my legs, my waders, because they're starting to sag a little bit. This is a true story. I don't care if you folks believe this or not, but this is true. I'm actually having fun telling this one. But I said, oh yeah, officer, take a look. And I'm doing everything I can. Told him the history of the rod, who I got it from. Walton Powell, third generation rod builder out of somewhere in California. And anyway, so he after a bit, he kind of scratched his head, I'll be damned, and all that stuff. And he just bid me a good day. And away he went, And that's really the crux of this story. I didn't get busted. But I never did that again. But yeah, as soon as that fish cop left me, man, I stripped them waders off, plopped them 4 fish out, cleaned them up the best I could, threw them in my cooler or buried them or did whatever I did. I didn't throw them away because back in them days, I ate fish. I had a family to feed. I used to smoke fish. I had an old refrigerator I turned into a homemade smoker. And I've smoked thousands of fish in my day, trust me. It's the only way my family'd like them, So, but, I get those fish in there and I get gone and I don't get busted. But the moral of this story is, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want to be guilty and you don't want to change your shorts and all this other stuff like that, make sure you follow your local fish and game laws. I know I'm just barking in the wind when I say that. Thank you very much for listening to this true story. Take care of yourselves, everybody, and we shall see you on Down the Trail.